Hi, Don Krieg. Bye, Don Krieg. Hey guys, welcome back to the Everything Anime Podcast. I'm your host Shinry. Here at the Everything Anime Podcast, we talk about everything from anime, manga, video games, and TV, and whatever relevant topic we feel like talking about. Today's video is on episode 4 and 5 of One Piece live action Netflix. So I've already got some thoughts. And I don't know why I didn't realize this before in episode 3, but Django the Hypnotist isn't in this arc. And for those that are only Netflix live action watchers, you don't know, but Django is the reason why Luffy also becomes stronger. He was trying to hypnotize Kuro's minions to become stronger, but Luffy was looking at it too. And I think Zoro and Nami or Usopp made a joke where only a dumbass would look at that, and Luffy's glued on it. So I noticed that Django the Hypnotist is missing, but there's even bigger changes. First of all, the whole arc takes place in the mansion because, all right, so in the manga and anime, they were on a hill and Kuro's crew were at the bottom. His whole pirate crew was at the bottom. And the two minions, the two cat people that Zoro fights in this episode, they are there as well. They do fight Zoro. But I just noticed that was a really significant change, probably because of budget and time and stuff like that. They've already changed a lot with Kobe being there in the episode as well as Hamapo. Which, I appreciate the changes, but it's just for non-anime watchers or manga readers. You're not going to notice that change. You're not going to know this is a lot different. But yeah, I love the opening designs, how they keep changing the One Piece title. The original one was Luffy, the second one was Buggy the Clown, and then this one was Zoro. It looks really good. Those designs are good. Let me talk about Kuro since Kuro's the main villain. I love this pussyfoot technique. I loved how fast he moves, how easily he took down Nami and Kaya. Because obviously, if Kaya takes him down, and even Nami before she gets her weapon, I was like, this is going to be unrealistic. But he took him down easily. I did enjoy the fight between him and Luffy. How Luffy catches them off guard because Luffy does do that in the same in manga. Kuro's going fast and cutting through everything, and Luffy's getting swiped left and right. But eventually, Luffy starts moving and he just punches the air, and Kuro manifests. And I thought he was going to say, curse you, boy, like he does in the manga and anime, but he just says something else, he just caught off guard. But I still liked it. You can tell Luffy, the guy imitating Luffy is, all in. He has to be a fan. He has to be a fan. Because he's imitating Luffy perfectly. And he does finish Kuro the same way, Gum Gum Bell. That happens, he ducks him out. And the animation's still looking good for stretching. Trying to see if I can remember anything else from my notes about it. Let me see. About Kuro. Yeah, Kuro's speed is accurate. Kuro forfeiting being a pirate is accurate because Kuro, the reason why he became a butler is because as a pirate he got tired of being hunted and chased by other pirates. He got tired of bounties. So he wanted a relaxed life, but he was still gonna be a killer. He's just wanted out of spotlight. So he faked his own death. He had Django hypnotize a random person to pretend to be Kuro, and they got killed by X-Hand Morgan, so that's still accurate to the anime and manga. They're still taking Easter eggs and references. But it's just, without Django, it is kind of weird. But again, Django's not necessary, because Django, he comes back later in the Marines, I think. I'll have to look that up, but Django's not that, he's not that important, but he was Kuro's right-hand man. There was one negative I had about this. The fight's obviously shorter. They couldn't do the full fight, obviously, between Kuro and Luffy. But one thing that they kind of hinted at, but didn't really go all in. So the thing about Kuro saying I've killed some of my own pirates or crewmates before is because Kuro does do that in the anime and manga. Luffy and Kuro are fighting on the mountain. And at some point, Kuro's crew are talking shit, or they're panicking about leaving. Kuro does out of the bag attack, which is where he moves really fast, basically what he's doing with Luffy, but except without saying out of the bag attack. It's the pussyfoot technique where he's moving really fast and cutting. He cuts up his entire crew, his ship, indiscriminate. He's cutting up Luffy, he's cutting up his crew, and then Luffy says, "How can you do that to your own crew?" Luffy's pissed, and they kind of emanate that because Luffy's I would never hurt my own crew. Or something like that he says in the live action. Where basically he's imitating that same emotion that he says to Kuro, like, I would never hurt my own crew. And then he starts fighting Kuro even more seriously. But overall, I do like Kuro. I like that Kuro even was in it. Because, like, they could have cut Kuro out. I like that Kuro was in it. But I guess you couldn't because you had to bring in Usopp. Let's get to Usopp. Y'all know I'm a God Usopp fan. I praise God Usopp. Usopp is my dude. But this guy, I'm not getting Usopp from him. The coward thing, sure. The slingshot, sure. I'll give him one thing. So, at one point, Usopp does fire his weapon in the live action at Kuro, and Kuro catches it and like looks at it. It's like that because Usopp's original weapons were gags. Like, he was shooting eggs, rotten eggs, rocks, whatever he can get his hands on, he was shooting. Because Usopp, even though he's a marksman, he will become the greatest marksman of the crew. And Usopp's stories that he fibs and stories he tells will become legends. They will come into fruition. Everything he's lied about will come to be true because he's a great pirate later. But this guy, I'm not getting that. And I know it was just like one episode. Well, he's been in 2 episodes, but I know. But here's my thing, because Luffy, at the end of this live action, is like, I want you to be my crew. I saw how powerful you were. I saw that you stand up for your friends. But Usopp got knocked out by one hit from Kuro. And the reason why Django was important is because that's who Usopp takes down. Zoro gets to see, I mean, Usopp does use his weapons in a fight with Kuro. He doesn't do much, but he does do weapons, and Luffy sees that. But Zoro also sees it because as Django was going after Kaya, who they're trying to kill, well, in this one, Kuro's trying to kill Kaya. I don't like his like little intimidation speech. I thought it was kind of stupid. That little monologue about like, oh, you miss mommy and daddy, crying to cloud. I didn't like that. But I mean, they had to change it because Django's not in there. But yeah, Django's the one that tries to go kill her, and Zoro and Usopp go after Django and Kaya. And because Zoro has no sense of direction, Usopp is like, one, his eyes, and then two, there's this really cool line that Usopp says. So as they're chasing Django, they can't keep up with him. But Usopp, because he's a marksman, he can hit Django from far distances. So at one point, it's this really cool short scene. Usopp says so coolly, all right, so they're chasing, Kaya's chasing Django. Kaya's in the lead, Django's behind her, and then Zoro and Usopp are chasing them, and it's in a forest. And at one point, Zoro cuts down this tree, and Usopp says, thanks, that was in my way. And he takes out Django. Bro, that fucking solidified for me back then that Usopp was cool. I was like, okay, he might have gag weapons, but Usopp is cool. That one line, thanks, that was in my way, and then taking out an enemy. But this, I didn't get it. I didn't get it from this. I understand the long nose thing, like why they didn't do it. But again, you've done Buggy the Clown and Chop Chop Fruit. You've done Captain Kuro and made it look cool. You could have made Usopp's long nose look cool. Like maybe because he's black or dark skinned or whatever he is. I don't know. Maybe that's why they didn't want to do it, because they thought people would make fun of him. But I mean, you're adapting an anime. It's going to look weird. It's going to look goofy, but the fans are going to love it. But the kiss with Kaya, I mean, I was kind of indifferent to it because I don't want her to fall in love with Usopp yet. I want her to fall in love with Usopp when he becomes a man that she thinks, the man that she listened to the stories, and then he becomes that. Her falling in love with him now is just like, I don't see why you love him, but sure. Sure. Getting into Zoro next. I love the Zoro and Kuina flashback. It's pretty accurate to how it happened. Kuina was a better swordsman than Zoro, and he struggled. He wanted to be better than her, but before he could ever surpass her, she died. Now, I don't know. I have to look that up. If the third Zord he had is from Kuina, or he always had a third Zord. I mean, it's more touching if it is Kuina's Zord that he has for his third Zord, but I don't remember if that was in the anime or manga. I'd have to go back and check that. If I do, I'll clip it here in the manga panel. But I don't remember if that's where he got that third Zord, but I do know he did lose to Kuina. And it was their dream to both become the world's greatest swordsman, or Zord's woman. There is one funny gag that like hints or Easter eggs towards Zoro having no sense of direction. Usopp is being carried by Helmeppo and Kobe in these marine guards, which were never there in the original anime or manga. But they're carrying Luffy back, and Zoro happens to run into him, and Luffy's like, "Thanks. How'd you know I was here?" And Zoro was like, "I thought I was heading back to the mansion." It's a very funny gag that like anime and manga fans that know Zoro, who knows he has no sense of direction, will catch on to, but live action fans won't know that. But it's just a really funny gag. Yeah, Zoro has no sense of direction. He always heads in the opposite direction, and characters are constantly like, "No, Zoro, this way." And it's even more hilarious gag because when the Straw Hats split up 2 years later, Zoro's the first one to make it back to the ship. You find out why later, but like we didn't know that when it happened, like how Zoro got there first. So it's a really funny gag that like Zoro has no sense of direction, and I like that they tease that in here. Let me check my notes real fast, see if I'm missing anything. Usopp's slingshot does look good. I think I mentioned that in the last episode. Yeah, I mentioned I didn't like Kuro's monologue. Oh, the kid playing young Zoro, that green hair, I love it on him. I think that looks good. I think the guy playing, not Kuro, the guy playing young Zoro, I think that the hairstyle looks good on him. I think he should keep it. Kaya not believing Usopp about Kuro, that tracks. Almost at the bottom of my list of notes here. Just checking real fast. Yeah, the battle didn't take place in the mansion. I mentioned that. Loving how much they're showing off Kuro's claws. Like, they look so good. Because I've cosplayed him. I'll clip that right here that I cosplayed Kuro. Bro, I love Captain Kuro. I'm telling you. When I cosplayed him at MegaCon, even the Straw Hat people didn't know who I was at first. They're like, "Who are you again?" I was like, "Captain Kuro." They're like, "Oh, man, Kuro got disrespected. He got disrespected, but I love him anyway." Let's see. Do I have anything else to say about this episode? I love that Usopp made his own flag. That's different than the anime because, like I said, in the anime and manga, Luffy makes his like bad flag, and then Usopp makes the proper flag with Luffy's hat. But I like that like they did this because like they're trying to add their own thing to it, their own spin to it, which you have to do when you do live action, like they did with Bleach. We're gonna talk about a live action anime at some point, like me. Silver and Logi, we're gonna do a podcast together about the live action anime, and we'll probably talk about the changes. So I don't mind the spin on that. It did look good though, like his flag, and yeah, and they even mentioned all Jolly Rogers represent the captain. If you look at a Jolly Roger, if you look at a pirate flag, you will know who the captain is of that crew, and that's what I mentioned before in one of my videos. Like, you know, you'll recognize who this captain is based off the Jolly Roger. And so Blackbeard having 3 skulls, I'm bringing up again that Blackbeard is possibly a Cerberus. Someone said a Kraken because Krakens have 3 hearts. But the reason why I don't think it's a Kraken because he'd have to be in the water. And Devil Freezers can't swim. So I'm still going with the Cerberus. I'm going with the Cerberus theory, but it could be a Kraken. I don't know for sure. Oh, there was a really cute instrumental version of We Go that played. It was really nice. The Going Merry still looks weird to me. I mean, that's just my opinion. I don't like how the Going Merry looks. But Luffy sitting on the Going Merry's head and like making it his seat, his throne. That is an anime thing. Luffy was always sitting on the Going Merry's head. And, that's just like where he loved to sit. The great ending teaser that I loved was that everybody found out that that's Luffy's grandfather. Gorp is the hero of the Marines, the one that took down Goldie Roger, is Luffy's grandfather. But the reason why I have a problem with that is because that's a major revelation that happens way down the line. And this is where I talk about, like, we have to spoil everything for you guys if you're not caught up in One Piece or not watching, because this is a major change. You don't find out Gorp is Luffy's grandfather until after in his lobby. By the time we have Robin, Chopper, Sanji, I think those are the new ones that joined the crew at that point. And they all got high bounties. And Frankie, they all had high bounties at that point. So revealing it this early, I was just like, because also when you find out that's Luffy's grandfather, you find out that Luffy's father is Dragon, who is a revolutionary. So you have Luffy the pirate, his father a revolutionary, the leader of the revolutionary army, and then his grandfather, a vice marine admiral, the hero of the Marines that took down Goldie Roger or captured Goldie Roger. So it's like some of these revelations are major and they're mixing it up. But again, I guess they have to because they're condensing a lot of stuff. But I just don't see how it's happening. Oh, one more thing. Since I'm talking about Gorp, Kobe is back too early. When Kobe disappeared, aside from like cover arts, we didn't know what Kobe was doing. When Kobe comes back, and this is all in his lobby, Kobe is thin, he's skinny, and he's fast, and he's strong. But he's still weaker than Luffy, because the moment Kobe tries to attack Luffy one-shots Kobe, takes him out in one hit, and Kobe comes back, he's like, oh, man, you got me good. And then they have their reunion. It's very happy. It's an exciting moment. Because Kobe is meeting Luffy again this quickly, they're not excited to see each other. And then on top of that, even Kobe's already conflicted, even though I do think Kobe will capture Luffy in the anime or manga at one point. That's my theory. But knowing that Kobe is a part of Zord and knowing that Luffy's grandfather is the leader of Zord, I don't think Kobe's going to capture Luffy anymore. I did think he was at first because I thought it was going to be like a bigger war than Marineford to get Luffy back. But one thing they did do to try to prove and solidify that Kobe's still weaker than Luffy, and of course he is. Kobe hasn't trained yet. Kobe hasn't done anything yet. Luffy intimidates him with just a look. He's like, Kobe, get out of my way. I'm going to save my friends. That was good. That was emanating Luffy. That was emanating Luffy facing Marine Admiral Kobe. Because like I said, on Ender's Lobby, when they meet, he sucker punched Kobe. Well, Kobe tried to sucker punch him, but Luffy sensed him coming, took him out one hit. But that's how the episode ends. We're going to move on to episode 5 next, and then I'll upload this video. But yeah, quick thoughts. Overall, I liked it. I liked Kuro. His power set design, amazing. Didn't like the monologue. Usopp, you're not giving me Usopp yet, man. I got to see more from you. I got to see more of these gag weapons. I got to see more of your confidence. Zoro's perfect. Nami's perfect. Luffy's perfect. Gorp is perfect. Kobe's okay. Helmeppo, kind of accurate. Or pretty much accurate. Helmeppo doesn't have any scenes outside of Kobe and Gorp. But when you do see Helmeppo, it's pretty much the same. But yeah. Still a positive episode. Still loving it. Just can't wait to see more. See what else they're going to do. That's all for this video. We'll move on to the next one right now. Okay, I have a lot of criticisms for episode 5. This is my personal opinion, just based off certain characters, certain actions, certain thing that happens. But I do want to make it known, emphasize, this is great for One Piece. The reason why is because people that weren't interested in One Piece, they have friends that are not interested. I've got 2 friends that never watched One Piece before. They, because of the live action, want to watch the anime and read the manga, which is great because that kind of thing happened to me with Demon Slayer. Like, I got in Demon Slayer late. I got in Jujutsu Kaisen late. Bungo Stray Dogs, things like that. So it's great that this live action anime is helping that, especially because they'll get more context about who these characters are, because I'm about to rip into episode 5. Okay, so first problem is Luffy is not ready to face his grandfather. He's not ready to face an admiral or a marine. I get that it's because it's his grandfather. They're trying to play on that fact, but Luffy wasn't ready to face a admiral until Dressrosa, way later in arc, like 2-year time skip. And the reason why I say that is because in that arc, Fujitora shows up and they're used to running away from the Marines. Like, Luffy did fight those 3 admirals at Marineford, Aokiji, Akainu, and Barcelino, but he couldn't damage them. He didn't know hockey back then. But even then, they still would have probably been out of his class based off his powers at that time. And now, he's fighting Barcelino, so, excited for that. I didn't talk about it last week, but I'm excited. Luffy's about to fight Barcelino, the glint powers, light-based powers. Anyways, I think it's too early. Although I love that Gorp grabs the cannonballs with his hands, because that's the thing from the anime and manga as well. Gorp picks up cannonballs with his hand and throws them. Gorp doesn't have a devil fruit, as far as we know. I don't think he does. But I believe he's just incredibly strong. And we learned that through a flashback in one of the reviews I did with Kobe and Aokiji. Yeah, so Gorp is just incredibly strong. The other problem is Usopp. Now, I already said I had a problem with Usopp last video, episode 4. But episode 5, you're the marksman and you don't know how to use a cannon. You don't know how to aim. You're dropping cannonballs. Why are you making Usopp such a joke? Even after Usopp joined the crew, this was pre-Usopp winning fights. Pre-Usopp doing anything major. but he is a marksman. Like, he either gets it from his dad or he's just naturally a marksman. And I think, like, making Usopp such a joke character, like him drinking booze and throwing up, I'm like, you're not doing Usopp justice, man. You're not. I don't know if you're being told to act that way, but like, you're not doing Usopp enough justice. Like, Usopp does have gag weapons. That's his thing in the early arcs, but he gets so much stronger. He's so much more serious. And even then, he has these great moments. But I just think so far by episode 5, you're not giving me much. Let's see. Oh, the Gum Gum balloon. This is the first time I ever thought the stretching looked weird. When he inflates himself to a balloon, that looked very strange to me. I know what Gum Gum balloon is, like when he inflates himself and he basically repels projectiles, but like it just looked very strange. So let's get to the Barty. It looked fine. I love Zeph. Zeph, the mustache, the long hat, they nailed him. They nailed Zeph. Patty, I don't really care. Patty's a character and he belongs with that crew, but I didn't really care. Let's see. Sanji, his first appearance, I said they looked okay. I noticed that they're not doing the curly eyebrows, just like they're not doing the long nose with Usopp, which makes sense. I mean, it probably would look weird, but I mean, they could have like even just like, you know, like marked it like washable marker, but that's just my opinion. But his fighting choreography with the kicks and stuff, great. So if you know the thing about Sanji, he's the cook of the crew, and he doesn't want to use his hands because he saves his hands for the kitchen. So that's why he kicks. He saves his hands for the kitchen, so he uses kicks. And Sanji's kicks are powerful as hell. If you think Zoro's strong, Sanji is like just under him. They're like rivals in that. I love how the crew's getting along. It's great. I love their banter. I understand because we're condensing like several arcs in the 8 to 10 episodes. I think somebody says 8. I'm not caught up. I didn't ever look. But we're condensing a lot of story into a couple episodes. I understand why the crew's joining together fast. But I do hope people do read the manga and anime or inspired to go read it and watch it, because there's a lot more to these characters. There's a lot more to their development. There's a lot more to their teamwork and stuff like that. That's why I said like Usopp's not given justice. The guy playing Luffy, he's having such a fun time. I love it. The guy playing Zoro's having such a fun time. I love it. I have one nitpick with Nami that I'm going to bring up in a second. But let me see what else I have in my notes. Oh, I love the crew teasing Nami about Sanji flirting with her. So the thing with Sanji is he flirts with every single woman he sees, which is why I'm surprised he ignored that one woman sitting at the table, which I believe is supposed to be that either that guy was a Marine or he was just like a high-ranking person. Like he just kind of like ignored the woman at the table and flirted with Nami. But that's his thing. He flirts with Nami and Robin equally. But he flirts with all women. But Nami and Robin are like his top tier. Mihawk. We got to see Mihawk. His design looks amazing. I love the long black Zord. I love that his short knife, his cross knife Zord. It looked cool. Mihawk looked incredible. But, here's another nitpick. We got to see Don Krieg. That is another character. I didn't forget about Don Krieg. That's another character I didn't know if they pulled off right. Because Don Krieg's whole thing is he's human. He just has like a lot of weapons and armor. And they had him in his armor. They had the purple hair. And they had like one of his weapons come out and attack Mihawk. And it was to show Mihawk's badass moment, like cutting that bullet in half. Really dope. Love it, love it, love it. But the thing is that's really changed there is Mihawk was pursuing Don Krieg. Because, like, he was just in his way or he interrupted his nap or something like that. I think it was the same in the manga and the anime. But Don Krieg came to the Barty first because he was attacked by Mihawk. He and his crew fled there. Jin comes in first, and then we meet Don Krieg. Jin is the guy with the bandana, and he, like, looks like he's wearing, like, a tracksuit. We meet Don Krieg after Jin because Jin is his right-hand man, and Jin was hungry, and Sanji feeds him. And the other ones bar team members are giving him shit. They're like, you can't feed somebody that's poor. And Sanji's like, if a man's hungry, I'm going to feed him. And I love that. That's accurate to Sanji's character. That's directly from the manga and anime. I love it. But because we saw Don Krieg basically get one-offed by Mihawk already, Mihawk definitely did not let him escape. Especially with Mihawk showing at the Barty first. That means they must not be fighting Don Krieg in episode 6. Like, we must just be jumping to Arlong Park. And that's my nitpick I'm about to bring up in a second. But to reiterate, it's supposed to be Sanji versus Jin and Luffy versus Don Krieg. And it's a battle between grit and like armor, and I think they call it grit versus armor or something like that. But anyways, it's just showing that like through willpower, Luffy will, because at one point Don Krieg cloaks himself with like a bunch of like spikes, and he thinks Luffy won't hit him because Luffy's made of rubber, and obviously the spikes will cut Luffy. But Luffy punches it anyway, catching Don Krieg off guard and sending him flying. And we also get to see like more of Sanji fighting when Sanji fights Jin. Well, he fights Jin and the Pearl dude, which Jin isn't that strong. He did take Sanji down, sort of, but there was also like this giant Pearl guy. Don Krieg, it's One Piece. You're gonna get used to the crazy things that happen if you're not already. But yeah, so I'm like, that didn't happen. And then when Mihawk shows up, still chasing Don Krieg, everybody starts fighting to watch the fight between Zoro and Mihawk. And bro, the fight in this live action was good. I applaud it. It's almost basically the same, and it was great. I loved it. The only nitpick I have is Zoro's final speech at the end. I think it was delivered stronger than anime and manga. It's when Zoro holds up his sword, he's crying. He's like, Luffy, if you're gonna be the king of the pirates, I have to become the world's greatest swordsman. You can't have anything less, and I'm never gonna lose again. He did say it here, slightly changed, but I just didn't feel the impact that I felt from the anime and manga. Let me check my other notes before I bring up the other nitpick I have. Oh, another minor change is the reason how Luffy became a chore boy wasn't because he didn't have the money to pay for the food. At some point, Luffy somehow flew into the bar T, created a giant hole in the restaurant, and Zeph was like, hey, you're going to work to pay this off. I mean, since you can't pay to fix this wall, you're going to work for me for a year and pay this off. And the way Luffy gets out of that is Don Krieg shows up, threatens to take the bar T, and Luffy's like, hey, old man, if I kick this guy's ass for you, can we be even? And Zeph is like, sure, why not? And Zeph is also used to be a pirate called Red Leg Zeph, and he quit being a pirate after he saved Sanji. That's their relationship dynamic, which you don't get in this episode. Maybe episode 6, but so far they're not really hinting towards that yet. But yeah, Zeph saved Sanji's life because he was a stowaway. He was a stowaway on Zeph's ship, on his Zeph's pirate ship. And Zeph had like, after Zeph saved Sanji, they ended up on this like rock where they were stranded, and Zeph gave Sanji a bag of food that would last him a month if he rationed it perfectly. And then Zeph had this giant bag, and Luffy and Sanji thought it was food. And so Zeph's like, I'm gonna wait here on this side of the island. You wait over there. Do not contact me unless you see a ship. And so 30 days passed, or I think like less than 30 days. Sanji ate all his food, and he's like starving. He's like, the old man had that giant bag of food. What happened to that giant bag of food? He goes back and checks. The old man has not opened his giant bag of food. And so Sanji's thinking he's being greedy. He's like, I don't know how this guy survived this long without eating, but I'm getting some food. Sanji rips open the bag. It's filled with treasure. And Zeph says to him coolly, I thought I told you not to come over here without telling, unless there was a ship. And Sanji goes around like, how did this man survive without eating anything? Zeph ate his own leg. When Sanji looks, Zeph's leg is gone. Because I don't remember in the live action if he had like a, what do you call it, like a wooden leg? I don't remember if they did that. I don't think they did. But again, they're condensing a lot for this live action because there's only so much you can do in live action, as well as so much you can pull off. So again, I love that like One Piece, new One Piece fans are getting into the anime and manga because of this. Let's see. Okay, so 2 more things. The explanation of the warlords is pretty perfect, except, well, yeah, because at the time, what we knew about the warlords is kind of accurate, that we thought they were the biggest one, but they were the biggest dogs on the sea, but it's actually the 4 emperors. And since we're not there yet, I'm not going to bring that up. Jin did look accurate. I loved his design and stuff like that. Let's see. Okay, so let me talk about the other nitpick I have. So Nami's supposed to have like tricked them by now and stolen the Mary to go to her homeland where Arlong Park is, basically like our next major villain, Arlong. She was supposed to do that, but they even do this like thing where like they cut away to Nami, like beside whenever Zoro's fighting Mihawk, they cut to like Nami, Usopp, and Luffy. And at first it was just Usopp and Luffy. So when they cut, they're showing you that Nami didn't leave the crew. And I mean, you guys will get that because they teased that she was gonna leave the crew, but she came back. So I'm like curious how like Arlong Park's gonna start, because the whole thing was that Nami abandoned them, made them think that like she like used them, but really it was because like her town, her family, her sister, they're under the control of like these fishmen, and they're forcing Nami to like create a map of the entire world so they can eventually take over or something like that. I forgot what Arlong's goal was. I think it was just like he hated humans. I mean, I know what his ultimate goal was in the past because of Fisher Tiger and things like that, but again, that's time skip talk. But yeah, I don't know how Arlong Park's going to start with Nami still being with the crew instead of like abandoning them and ditching them and taking Mary. So that'll be interesting to see. I'm pretty sure that'll be in episode 6, or at least a teaser end of episode 6. But I hope it's good, because Nami's arc in Arlong Park is so fucking amazing, guys. It is so fucking amazing. And that's where Usopp beats a fishman with his gag weapons. That's what I mean. Like, Usopp, you got to start showing me something, man. Your first fight and winning against a fishman was like incredible. You used your gag weapons, but it worked, you know? And there was a lot of like trickery. Like at one point, Zoro gets captured and Nami sets him free. He doesn't know why because he's confused. And then at another point, Usopp thinks Nami betrayed him, and she pretends to stab him to save Usopp. So there was like a lot of betrayal, but it's really good when you see it unfold in the anime and manga. Let me see what else I have to say. Yeah, Mihawk's power was impressive. I think they really showed it off. Kind of holding back because Mihawk can do a lot more damage than that. Mihawk can cut a meteorite. But I love the battle. Let's see. And yeah, Mihawk, he didn't want to kill Zoro because he saw potential in him. He saw like Zoro could surpass him as a swordsman. I love that. It's different. They're condensing a lot of stuff. I understand why they're doing it, but it's just like, man, that hype when Kobe comes back, guys, it's so amazing. So amazing. As well as Helmeppo coming back, but none of the characters recognize him, which is a hilarious gag. They're like, who are you again? And it's pretty funny. But overall, I do want to say, because it sounds like I hate this live action. I love it. I think it's one of the best live actions we had. All the live actions I've seen so far were like Bleach, Full Metal, Death Note, the Japanese version, as well as like the English Netflix version, and that might have been it. Dragon Ball Evolution. So out of all the ones I've seen, this is the best live action we ever got, and I hope we continue to get great live actions like this. Or they could just make a movie out of this. Make a movie at some point with all these characters. That'd be probably interesting to watch. I'm going to move on to episode 6 and 7. Probably 6, 7, and 8 together in like one mega video. And just kind of try to condense all my thoughts into one video. I'm working on some other stuff. A ranking video of all the One Piece movies. That's going to take some time to put together because Toei Animation took down the original video that I had clips throughout the video, and I wasn't able to like put that back up, so I might break down each movie so far. Like, I'm starting with Strong World, then I'll do Film Z, then I'll do Gold, or Heart of Gold, then Gold, and then Stampede, and then 3D2Y, and then Red. I think that's all the movies. Oh, Nebulandia is in there somewhere. They're all on Netflix, but I'm going to review them for you guys to let you know what I think and put them on my tier list. So we'll see how that goes. Anyways, guys, that's all for now. Hope you guys continue to enjoy. And thank you to the new One Piece fans that joined the fan base. We love you. This is a welcoming community. I know that there are other toxic fan base, but trust me, the One Piece fan base, it is very welcoming. It's so cool because you'll see, you'll experience it. It's not about transformations. It's not about the next form. It's not about the new technique. It is about the adventure, and that's what makes One Piece so good, as well as its mysteries. There's a lot of mysteries in One Piece. So that's all for now, guys. Talk to you soon. Hey guys, this video was sponsored by me, the author of the Shinry series, the Chronicles of Wayne, and Monsterverse. So I figured I'd do this outro a little bit different by showing you guys what you guys will be checking out. So the Shinry series starts with Book 1, Shobu Samurai Project Aryoku. 10 years after the death of his parents, Shobu Samurai returns home seeking vengeance, but instead faces a choice to save his home from shadow creatures, blood beasts, and an organization once thought dead. Shinry's Shobu Samurai starts at $9.99. And if you love anime, manga, Naruto, One Piece, Bleach, Yu Yu Hakusho, Fairy Tail, Shaman King, Rave Master, Zatch Bell, anything like that, the Shinry series is definitely the series for you. You'll definitely want to check it out. The Sword of Light is probably the thickest one so far. And then these books are 2. This is Enter the Dread Zone Tournament. And the series original ending, Arado, the Legendary Conjuring Master. So, and I'll just show you guys some of the covers. Really proud of all of these. But I hope you guys check it out. If you don't like that, I also have the current published books for the Chronicles of Wayne, Love Be Damned, Cotton Candy, Full Moons, Fabled Lovers, A Cursed Virgin's Bite. If You Go Where Monsters Dance, Red will Rain Over Your House. Love Be Damned. Now, the Chronicles of Wayne is about a geeky guy, or a nerdy guy in high school. His senior year, he has a crush on the hottest guy in school, because of course he does. He's only got one best friend, and her name is Barb. Well, the hottest guy in school turns out to be a werewolf. And to make the story more interesting, he bites Wayne and turns Wayne into the first ever wolfman in the last 10 years. And because of that, it was also a sacred law that wolfmen should never be created. I don't want to get into too much of the Chronicles of Wayne without spoiling it, but I can tell you it's very short. This one sells for $6.99, and Love BK is right after it. The ending of this trilogy, Love Be Liberated, comes out in October. So I'm going to definitely do a more full in-depth review of this one. But yeah, it's an LGBT fantasy fiction story about werewolves, vampires, white witches, a dark warlock, and, well, many, many more surprises to come. So if you guys like to read, I definitely recommend. These are all the books so far in the Shinry series, except for Shinry's Beginning. I do have that one, but it's just not here with me. But yeah, I appreciate a like, support, or just a review on Amazon. Either way, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys have a great day. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe.